Okay, I'm going to try and make this as brief as possible because I've tried this way too many times. It's getting quite tricky to post this one. The reason why I'm posting is recently I've noticed that a lot of the people that I'm talking to on Twitter have suddenly started revealing themselves as having ME. And you might wonder why I'm keying onto that, but I've had chronic fatigue syndrome and ME, or myalgic encephalomyelitis, 4 times. So the odds of then bumping into someone on Twitter without knowing that they've got it, and then discovering that they've got it is quite fluky-ish. Which has since meant that I've had chats about their symptoms and what I had and my experiences when I've had ME in the past. So I'll do the quick explanation of ME. There are 2 main theories on ME. One is that it's an overactive immune system, and that basically your antibodies are trying to defend against a perfectly healthy piece of bacteria. Meanwhile, a not very nice piece of bacteria or virus hops along and gives you a bug, which your body just forgets that it needs to be fighting. Which is when people say that you shouldn't take echinacea. Everyone else supports doing echinacea if you get a bit of a bug, but this is one of those exceptions. However, second theory is that it's underactive immune system. So you get your bug, and your antibodies and immune system do nothing at all. So you get the bug, can't get rid of it. Recurring bug, can't get rid of it. Which is when people say then you should take echinacea. So it's a very confusing thing in itself. Part 2 to this is the the other theories where some medical professionals say that ME is a sort of physical symptom is the main thing, and then mental mind symptoms are a secondary thing. So you get your achy limbs and your insomnia and all that kind of stuff. And the secondary part to it, the effect of having all of those physical symptoms, is that you then get concentration problems like I'm having now, and low points, like not quite depression but a similar thing, anxiety attacks, that kind of stuff. Second bit is that you get the opposite, which is that they reckon that the mind is the main bit. So the anxiousness and all the insomnia and all that kind of stuff then gives you achy limbs and stuff, which seems a bit bizarre. Personally, having had it 4 times, I would say it's a mixture of the two. And there's catch-22s on both, because you can get anxiety attacks because you're predicting that you're going to have a collapse, or it's the first time you've been able to leave your home for a certain amount of time, so that then builds up anxieties, and then that kicks in pain because you've got adrenaline and all that kind of stuff rushing around. So yeah, 2 theories, 2 parts to 2 theories. All very confusing. What makes it harder is that your average person that's probably got ME or chronic fatigue syndrome is around my age or younger. They're sort of 20 to 34-ish, give or take a few years. So they're getting this when they're doing degrees and stuff, when there's lots of stress about, which tends to be quite a strong trigger for it, from what I can fathom. So what you then have is the problem of getting support on it, because chronic fatigue syndrome isn't something that comes up on a blood test. It's something that comes up on the list of things once you eliminate all the results on a blood test. It's a bit like glandular fever in that way, but with less awareness. So it means you're left 4 months potentially not knowing what you've actually got, so that then makes you even more anxious. And it also means that you get delay on treatment, which is really tricky, because one of the main treatments, which I'm not entirely pro for, is antidepressants, because some people really don't react to them terribly well, especially if they're wrongly prescribed. And antidepressants used to be the quickest thing for most GPs to hand out quite readily, because there wasn't that much information really on ME. There's been a lot more since, but still not that well publicised, which is part of the point of me doing this, because what tends to happen in the UK anyhow is that once a year, most ME associations, which are about two, do a bit of a press campaign thing with like the Daily Mail and that kind of stuff. However, the rest of the year, there's very little awareness or emphasis on trying to explain or put forward ME and the effects, and what there is out there for people to be able to do. So at the moment it looks like some people are using Twitter as their genre or a speaking point, which is great. But really, you kind of need some more interactive format that's a bit more direct, which right now there isn't that much of that. So what I'd like to see, if anyone's actually manages to finally see this thing, is that maybe someone can pull something together where there's a talking area or something like that to be able to discuss symptoms and that kind of stuff, because a lot of the people that get ME are normally creatives as well, I have to be honest, with a lot going in their minds anyway. So I think you kind of notice what some of the symptoms are. Some people like me have had like dyslexia symptoms as a result of chronic fatigue syndrome, or memory bits sometimes as well. And then there's things like overheating, poor temperature dial on your body basically, and stuff like that. But no one seems to have the same symptoms. There's no one set pattern, so it's probably hard for GPs, and it's also very hard for anyone discussing it. Like, two people with ME could be discussing their symptoms and they probably wouldn't match up. So I think there needs to be some kind of proper forum. I don't know how you do that. Maybe someone can come up with an idea for that. Maybe someone out there knows how. But I'd really ask for someone to do that, because you only just sort of stumble on these things. You don't actually necessarily know with things like Twitter that someone's got that, which is great. But chronic fatigue syndrome doesn't really have any direct symptoms that you can see that are there, that are like someone in a cast, or someone has crutches, or has a big arrow that tells you, oh, they've got ME, or something like that. So I think there needs to be some kind of awareness thing, but I'll probably do another post about this at some point soon. But yeah, I thought it'd just be a bit of a sounding block, really. Thank you.